Shabbat Shalom. It's Friday again, and this time Parashat Vayetze. In Parashat Vayetze, we find Yaakov heading off on his own journey, going off in many ways to find himself. Yeah, he's the first to go east to go and discover himself, and he plans to Be'ezrat Hashem come back with a family, wives, children, making some money, making a career for himself. And indeed, when he leaves with very little. Vayetze Yaakov mi Beersheva vayelech Harana. He's off on his journey, and on the way we have the famous story of his dream with the ladder in Bethel, and his all of his escapades with Lavan, his father-in-law from hell, and at the very end of the parasha, he's already on his way back. So in many ways, this parasha discusses him leaving and him coming back. In the next parasha, we'll find him interacting with his brother Esav on the way into the land of Israel. But at this stage, he is on his journey. Now, one of the beautiful things that I think we don't always notice is that these avot, these patriarchs of ours, are not only our fathers, as we say, Avraham Avinu, Yitzchak Avinu, Yaakov Avinu, but they were first and foremost sons. And Yitzchak was the son of Avraham, and we find Yitzchak redigging the wells of Avraham, in many ways founding Abraham's legacy. And beautifully in our parasha, we find an interesting developing dynamic of Yaakov and his father. If we think back to the previous parasha, Yaakov and his father had a bit of a rocky relationship. We find that Yaakov fools his father, cheats his brother out of the Bechorah, and we discussed that in the previous parasha, of the necessity of that and how that was done. But either way, at the end of the day, Yaakov is not the favorite of his father. We see that Yaakov is the favorite of his mother, and his father likes Esav. And to a certain degree, Yaakov has to prove himself, has to step up to the plate, and has to, in many ways, become the firstborn, to take the firstborn rights, and to prove himself not only to himself, but also to his father, to his family, and to history. In our parasha, we find him leaving. Even though he leaves with the blessing of his father, it's clear that his father is in the background throughout the parasha. At the end of the parasha, we even find his father mentioned twice, Pachad Yitzchak, the fear of my father, referring to God, Yitzchak, his father's fear of God. It's a very interesting dynamic. If you follow through the parasha, as I recommend you do, if you go to shul, if you want to read the parasha through, notice how many times Yitzchak appears, but either by name or called Avi, his father, Beit Avi, my father's household, and so on and so forth. And we'll find that the dynamic grows. And Yaakov, to a certain degree, grows into his relationship with his father, so that at the end, he can't wait to go back to see his father. As we see, Lavan says, I can see that you're hastily trying to get back because you miss your father, and so on and so forth. It's very interesting to see the dynamic that Yaakov, to a certain degree, grows into. And I want to take one little example of that to focus in on. We see that when Yaakov meets Rachel, it says that he is enamored by her and he asks to marry her, and it says, Vayehav Yaakov et Rachel. Yaakov loves Rachel. Now, there's a beautiful midrash that I found, if I'm not mistaken, it's in the Zohar, that says that Vayehav Yaakov et Rachel is a mirroring of a previous pasuk in a previous parasha, in which we find Yitzchak loving, again using the word Vayehaveha, he loves Rivka, his mother. This dynamic of, to a certain degree, Yaakov is reliving the relationship of his parents. You could even say that he is unifying the love of Rivka to him, and the love of his mother, and the love of his father, and passing on that love to Rachel, to his wife, to the next generation, to his family. And it's beautiful to see that Yaakov, to a certain degree, becomes, in this parasha, Yaakov Avinu. He steps into the role of a father. He moves from being a son at the end of last week's parasha to being a father of 12 boys and one girl in this parasha, actually 11 boys, because Binyamin is not yet born. But we see that Yaakov, to a certain degree, has to come to grips with his father's legacy, to become his father in a way, to manifest the responsibility of Birkat Avraham, as Hashem appears to him, Ani Elohei Avraham Avicha ve'Elohei Yitzchak, I'm also the father, the God of your father Yitzchak, and you are now going to be Elohei Yaakov. You will fill this trifecta of the three patriarchs, and you will fill the shoes that your father Yitzchak has left for you. I think this message is a very important message whenever we come to manifest our legacy, whether it's the legacy of the Jewish people, looking back to our forefathers. We read these parashot so that we can learn for ourselves how to embrace our own roles in this world. Sometimes we might be a bit hesitant. Sometimes we might, want to run away. Sometimes we might not even know into which direction we're heading. What does God even want from us? But to a certain degree, we can always look back to our Mesorah, to our tradition, to our fathers, to our forefathers, and see, hey, we have a roadmap that we can follow, that we can develop, that we can grow through, and it's up to us to really make peace with our avot, our internal avot, our heritage, our family, our history, and to be the next link, the next generation, to be the next rung in Yaakov's ladder that slowly rises up into the heavens. Shabbat Shalom.